This conference
cloud
will
and
now be
then data
recorded.
engineering. And Python, I have been training folks on Python for past 3 years. Okay, so that's about my training experience, guys. Okay, so let me walk you through the agenda. Today's agenda, I wouldn't take more than 30 minutes of your time. And let's try to make this session as interactive as possible. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, so this is the agenda for us today. I'm gonna walk you through what exactly Python is, what is Python. Then I'm gonna walk you through why Python. Okay, and then third one, I'm gonna walk you through our course curriculum. I'm gonna walk you through. Once we are done with this, of course, I'm gonna walk you through next steps. So what you'll have to do after this course, and finally, I'm gonna take Q&A. Like I said, I would need around 30-35 minutes to wrap this up, guys. And I want you to be as interactive as possible. You can use your chat window to acknowledge because this session is being recorded. Try to avoid unmuting yourself as much as you can, guys. Okay, please use your chat window to acknowledge anything or when you want to ask something. Okay. For Q&A, you are free to open, you're free to unmute yourselves. Okay. So let's get started with this. What is Python? So before we jump on to what is Python, we might need to understand what exactly is a programming language. Any idea, guys, what is a programming language? Any idea? Okay. So talking about bookish definition, programming language is nothing but a set of instructions given to a computer. As simple as that. But to talk in a layman terminology, this programming language is a way to communicate with your computer. Okay, so your computer is not self-intelligent, guys. Maybe if you give a video file, your computer doesn't really know what to do with it. Or maybe if you give an audio file, your computer doesn't know what to do with it. Okay, so you will have to pass a set of instructions. You'll have to pass a set of instructions to process those files, to process a video file or to process an audio file. You'll be doing that in the form of a media player. You write your code and you add a beautiful UI to your code. Okay, let's talk about VLC media player. So VLC media player is used to play .mp4 files, .mp3 files, or .mkv files. Usually video files or image files, sorry, video files or audio files, right? So what exactly a VLC media player is? VLC media player for you is a UI, but in the back end, there is a lot of code running. There is a lot of code running. Okay, maybe you press play button, the code corresponding to the play button would be running in the back end. Maybe you press pause. Okay, so the code that corresponds to pause would be running in the back end, but for you it is represented as a beautiful UI. Because let's say I have developed a media player called Suresh media player or Suresh mp3 player. Okay, so if I give you the code as is, will you be using my code? No, definitely not. So what I'll be doing is I'll be adding a beautiful UI on top of it, so that you don't really need to worry about what's happening in the backend. I'll make sure that the corresponding controls are given so that the appropriate code will be called for the particular functionality. Okay. So likewise, whatever the tools you are using on your computer is built with one of the other programming languages, guys. As simple as that. Because your computer doesn't really know what to do. So it's a compute engine. So given some instructions, it is capable enough to, process those instructions, but it doesn't really know how to form those instructions by itself. So it's going to be you who will be defining those set of instructions and passing on to your computer for processing. Okay. So how do you do that? Using a programming language. Using a programming language. Okay. So there are different programming languages, guys. We have Fortran, we have C, C++, Java, Scala, Python, Golang. There is a huge list of these programming languages. Okay, so they have their own flavors actually. So if you talk about C doesn't support object-oriented programming structures, and if you talk about Java doesn't support REPL mode of development. Okay, you talk about Scala, Scala has a lot of inbuilt functions, so you don't really need to write a lot of code, and then it follows functional paradigm. Okay, so I'm just giving you some random features so that you understand each and every programming language has their own flavor. Okay, so you don't really need to understand how they are different or in what aspects they are different at this point in time, but at least I want you to understand that every programming language has its own flavor. Okay, and none of these programming languages are same in terms of features. Okay, but there will be few common set of concepts, guys, which they all will support. Say for example, conditions, and then loops, and then functions, right? There are all the common set of concepts uh, which which are supported by all the programming languages. Okay, so that is something which we discuss in our module 1, right? But apart from that, this is what a programming language is. Okay, and we'll talk about how we can differentiate these programming languages. Maybe once we start our course, there is a classification. Low level language, high level language, compiled programming language, interpreted programming language, and then you have procedural way of implementing a language, and then object oriented programming language. So there are multiple classifications. Okay, so what are the programming languages we take, would fall into one or the other categories of this. Maybe they might satisfy more than one or two criteria. Okay, so we'll talk about that probably once we start our course. We'll be deep diving into those things, right? But yes, every programming language has its own features. Okay, now talking about why Python, applications of Python. You must be hearing this common jargon, Python is everywhere. Okay, yes, Python is everywhere, right? So Python can be used in web application development. You will be using a couple of frameworks called Django and Flask. Python is predominantly used in data engineering, especially in a component called PySpark. I don't know how many of you are aware of this component called Spark. Spark is one of the most happening technologies in data engineering area right now. Okay, and then the success of Spark also started with introduction of a component called PySpark. Okay, the meaning of PySpark is the Python component supporting development of Spark applications. Okay, so you basically develop Spark applications using Python, right? And then data science, the most preferred programming languages to write data science applications or develop machine learning applications, Python. Okay, similarly, you want to do automated testing, yes, Python have its own modules which would help you to do that. Maybe if you want to get into desktop applications, yes, you have a package called Kinter which will help you to develop desktop applications. So Python is everywhere, guys. Okay, maybe you want to get into automation, yes, you can do that as well using Python. So that is the reason people keep saying Python is everywhere. And in next couple of years, right, I can confidently tell you at least 75 to 80% of the development will happen only with Python. Okay, now if you ask me how long, never know, because if you take 3 years back, it was all about Java. Okay, and then people also has gone gaga over Scala when Scala came into picture. And then uh, once Spark environment is developed using Scala, people were like Scala, Scala, Scala. Okay, so what Scala, why Scala, nobody knows. Okay, it supports a functional paradigm of developing your application, and then you end up writing very less code. Say for example, if you have written an application in Java using 150 200 lines, the same application can be written in Java by using less than 50 lines of code. Okay, so people went crazy for Scala, but now everyone are talking about Python. So to the question how long, definitely that's an uncertain comment. Okay, so whatever the comment I would give will be an uncertain comment because you never know. But the beauty of a programming language, right? Once you are to the once you are up to the speed, you will enjoy that prime time. Okay, and again, once you learn one programming language, scaling up yourself in a different programming language wouldn't be difficult. Like I said, I started my career as a Java developer into big data applications. Okay, so where I used to write MapReduce using Java. Okay, I have never been into typical web development though. Then when Scala was introduced in 2016, I was pushed into Scala projects using Spark projects using Scala. So then I have to upgrade myself from Java to Scala. Now, from past 4.5 years, I have been working on Python. So I'm pushed into PySpark. Okay, so I have learned Python, upgraded myself in Python. Um, again, there are a lot of online platforms for you to get up to the speed. If you already know one programming language, since I know Java well, I'm able to scale up myself on Scala and Python. Okay, so you have various hackathons, and then you have various platforms, competitive programming platforms where you can practice coding, and then you have beautiful online tutorials, and then you have live courses, right? So there are a lot of there are a lot of medium using which you can scale up yourself. That is the reason even in the campus recruitments and trainings, right? People are or companies are training students on Python to start with, because they believe if the Python is the easiest way to start learning, and once they learn Python and they understood the concepts of programming, they can scale up to any technology. Okay, so as simple as that. Your question for Python, why Python? You want a job immediately, or you want to get into most happening technologies? Python is your guide. Okay, I can also divide you into a couple of categories. One is student category, and second one is experienced professional category. Student or a fresher, Python alone, my course alone would give you a job for sure. Okay, so my course will give you wings to clear the interview. And talking about experienced professionals, you need to learn a technology, guys. Python alone cannot give you a job. Okay, say for example, you want to learn machine learning or you want to learn data science. You cannot just go and join data science course, because all the data science applications would be built using Python. Okay, so if you join data science course directly, you might be able to understand the concept, but you'll not be able to understand what the trainer is doing. Okay, so definitely the application whatever is written by the Python, you will never be able to understand until and unless you know Python. Okay, and in any data science course, especially which is taught in 2-3 months, they wouldn't be teaching Python. Okay, maybe if you join a 6-month course or 7-month course, they might be teaching you Python, but definitely in 2-3 months they will not be teaching Python. If they teach Python in 2-3 month data science course, I would advise you not to join that course, because data science itself is a huge thing. Okay, it's an ocean. You know, if they are teaching Python and also data science in 2 months, I would advise you not to join that course. Okay, so similarly, you want to learn PySpark. If you join a data engineering course or if you join a big data course, they wouldn't be teaching you Python. They will directly start what is Spark. Okay, and for you to understand Spark applications without knowing Python will take ages. Okay, so as simple as that. Why Python? This should answer your question. You want to get into a new most happening technology, you need Python. Being a fresher, you want to clear an interview, Python would be a great choice. Okay, now let me walk you through our course. Our course is divided into 7 modules, guys. First module is all about basics of Python. I was mentioning, right, there will be few common programming concepts for various programming languages. Module 1 is all about that. Okay, so we'll talk about what exactly Python is. So I was mentioning about few classifications, right? So we'll be deep diving into those classifications, and we'll talk about to which categories, to what all categories Python would fall into. And then I'm going to show you setting up the environment, Python environment. And we will be using 3 different environments to develop Python application. One is a notebook kind of environment. We'll be using Google Colab for that. And then I'll show you how to use PyCharm IDE, and I'll also show you how to write Python application without using any of these things. Okay, and then we'll talk about what exactly is a variable and data types, and why Python is called as a typed language. And then we'll talk about conditions, loops, controls, right? Arrays, functions, strings. A huge list of topics which you can go through this document. And second module, the most important module, is collections framework. We also call them as data structures. Okay, so there is a reason why these data structures are called as collection in Python. We will talk about that when we discuss this module 2. Here we'll be talking about 4 collections, guys: list, dict, sets, and tuple. 4 important collections. And then we'll talk about object-oriented programming concepts, where you will be taught various object-oriented programming structure concepts, like what is a class, what is an object, what is a constructor, what is this keyword. And then we'll talk about class variable, instance variable. We'll talk about types of methods we have. When I say types of methods, we'll talk about instance method, class method, static method. We'll talk about inheritance. We'll talk about method overriding. We'll talk about class abstraction, whatnot. So one of my favorite modules, module 3. Okay, because it gives you a different way of developing applications using OOPS concepts. Like I said, these OOPS concepts would be same across programming languages. You have inheritance in Java, you have inheritance in Scala, you have inheritance in C++. Okay, so when someone asks me, boss, what is the difference between inheritance in Python and inheritance in Java, I would say only syntactical difference. Nothing else. The concept is same. The types of inheritances are same except for multiple inheritance. Okay, so everything is same. Even the concept of class and an object is same. Okay, and then we talk about few miscellaneous topics, guys. Exception handling in Python, and then how you can use Python email module to send emails which would help you to automate your processes. And then we'll talk about Python JSON. So JSON format, JSON is one of the important format. Okay, so I mean the full form of JSON is a JavaScript object notation. And then we'll talk about Python decorators and generators, how they would help us in application development. Okay, so our course is called as Comprehensive Python course. The reason being, till the module 4 I have completed, the Python you need to learn. Okay, as a standalone programming language. From module 5, I'm gonna teach you how Python can be used in multiple areas. Okay, so module 5 is all about Python for data science, where I'll be walking you through different packages that are used in developing machine learning applications. I'll be walking you through NumPy, I'll be walking you through Pandas, I'll be walking you through Matplotlib and Seapon packages. If you ask me, will this be sufficient? Definitely not for learning data science applications. I'll be giving you a good overview of how these things can be used to develop machine learning algorithms. Say, for example, if we take NumPy, I'm going to show you how you can do all the numerical operations, like mean, median, mode, sum, and then some matrix operations, some vector operations, 3D operations, right? And I would also want to highlight one major thing in my course is, games. Okay, so usually we do workshops and we play games periodically, guys. Okay, so for example, on completion of first 5 topics in module 1, we will implement some games. We'll write code to implement games using the concepts we have learned till there. Okay, and then once we have completed object oriented programming structures, we kind of try to do a workshop in which we will implement a call center payment system. Okay, call center payment system. So we'll start from requirement gathering, then we'll do system design, and then we'll get into actual implementation. I'm going to show you the entire process. So that is the fun part of our course. And similarly in Python for data science, right? Once you are done with this NumPy, I'm going to show you how to create a photo editor. You will be creating your own photo editor. Okay, using NumPy, you can upload any image, you can crop it, you can rotate it, you can do whatever, you can flip it, you can do whatever you want. Okay, and similarly using Pandas, I'm going to show you some analysis on Titanic dataset. So Titanic dataset is a pretty famous dataset, guys, where most of it's an open source dataset for your practice actually. Put it in a simple terminology. So using that Python dataset, using that Titanic dataset, we are going to do some analysis, like what are the different parameters that has contributed to the disaster, and what are the different features that that played a significant role in saving someone's life, or what are the different parameters, or what are the set of people who were deceased in the disaster. Okay, some interesting analysis using Pandas, and we'll also use Matplotlib and Seapon there. So basically, with this module 5, you will get that feel of how these modules can be used to develop a machine learning application or a data science application. And module 6 is all about JDBC, guys, Java database connectivity. Though it sounds Java database connectivity, you can implement those drivers using Python as well. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to set up a MySQL RDBMS. Then I'm gonna walk you through. I know most of you could be new to database terminology. So I'm gonna show you how you can do CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete in your RDBMS. Then I'm gonna walk you through Python code using which you do the same operations. And then module 7 is all about introduction to Django and Flask, guys. So don't expect too much on module 7. Module 7, I'll be taking module 7 maybe in an hour or two. Okay, where I'll be introducing what exactly a web framework is, and then you'll get to understand different terminologies of web application. like what exactly a web server is, what exactly a web application is, what is this HTTP, and then what are the types of methods we have, get and post, what is the difference between them, right? And then how this request response method works, and what is this error code, like you will be seeing something called as 404 error, right? And you'll see sometimes 400 error. So what exactly those error codes are. Okay, so I'll be giving you all the background on this. Then I'll be introducing Django and Flask. I'll show you how to set up that environment. Okay, and then we'll run a hello world code using Django, and we'll run one hello world program using Flask. So just an introduction to the Django and Flask frameworks. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about a lot of things there. I'm gonna give you the skill set you need to possess as a full stack developer. What exactly front end is, what exactly back end is, what technologies you'll have to learn for front end, what technologies you'll have to learn for back end, and when you'll be called as a full stack developer. So all those things I'll be covering in the module 7. Okay, so this course is going to be a 45-hour course, guys. Okay, 45 hour to I would say 45 to 50 hours. Okay, 40 days, I would say 45 days to 50 days. And talking in terms of hours, I would need around 35 to 40 hours. I would need around 35 to 40 hours. Okay, so you might ask me a question, boss, why 35 to 40? Not a single number. It all depends on the questions you ask, guys. I cannot just skip your questions. So if you're all good with whatever we have discussed, I should be able to close the course in 35 days. Sorry, 35 hours. But if you have some questions, sometimes discussions would go a long way. So those were the times where we'll not be able to complete whatever we intend to complete in that particular hour. Okay, so that is the reason we always have that buffer of 5 hours. So our course would be of 35 to 40 hours, and in terms of days, I would take 45 days to 1 month. Sorry, 45 days to 60 days, which is 1.5 months to 2 months. Okay, so 1.5 month is the best case, and 2 months is the worst case. Okay, but we'll try to finish in between, right? And then these workshops and these gameathons, right? They'll not be part of your classes, guys. Your regular classes will be doing it on a weekend. Okay, so for example, in the first couple of weeks, we have completed all the topics that are required for the first workshop. So we'll plan for that workshop maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday. Okay, so those workshops wouldn't be part of your regular classes, which are those 35 hours I have mentioned. Okay, it will be on top of those 35 hours, right? And timings and other things, our career ready folks would help you with that, with those things. Okay, now let me take a pause and wait for your Q&A. Either you can use your chat window to ask a question, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Okay, so I'll be waiting a couple of minutes for your questions. If I don't see any questions, I'll be wrapping up this session.
What is PySpark?
PySpark is a big data technology. I mean, it falls into data engineering area though. So Spark is like next gen technology of MapReduce. It's a distributed computing environment where you can process huge volumes of data in a distributed fashion in memory. Okay, so that's about Spark. And talking about PySpark, so Spark initially supported only Scala and Java, but then they have come up with something called as PySpark, a separate component in Spark itself, which would support Python. So basically, you develop those Spark applications using Python programming language. Like I said, the processing would be in a distributed fashion. So for example, you want to process some 100 GB data or maybe 1 TB of data, it will be processed in parts. Maybe 25 GB in one machine, 25 GB in another machine, 25 GB in another machine. Okay, parallelly. And once you are done with that processing, it would aggregate the result and would give you the final result. which makes your processing faster. Does it answer your question, Venkatesh, at least at a high level?
Yes, Suresh. Like, would we be covering any data science concepts also as part of this?
No. So database concepts, I'm just gonna give you a overview of what exactly what are the types of data and what exactly is an RDBMS tool, what is ETL process, and then how SQL is important. These concepts, but will not be deep diving into those things because expectations from this course will be to make you ready for the next courses. Okay, like I said, if I start deep diving into any of these modules, especially module 5, 6, and module 7, our course would be extended for 1.5 months more. So it's going to be a 3-month course, 3 month or 3.5 months easily. Okay, so we don't want to get there. So module 5, module 6, module 7, they were added very recently, guys. Earlier it was only till module 4. Module 5, module 6, module 7, I have added them because I keep receiving a lot of questions from the students, sir, how can we use whatever we have learned in data science, or how we can use whatever we have learned in data engineering or maybe web programming. So I thought, okay, why not maybe I add few more topics that would answer these questions so that, I won't get these questions after the batch completion. Okay, so that's the main intention of adding 5, 6, 7, which has increased around 7 to 8 hours of our course. Earlier it was only 30-hour course, guys, and within 40-45 days we used to complete the course. But yes, based on the feedback and other things, I felt adding 5, 6, 7 modules, which will give you an overview of how Python can be used in other areas. Like I said, if you are an experienced professional, Python alone is not going to get you a job. Mark my word. Okay, so Python is just a medium in implementing applications of Spark, or implementing applications of machine learning or a web programming, or any other Python-based applications. Hope I'm making sense.
What is the difference between NumPy and Pandas?
There are two different modules, Venkatesh. There are two different modules used for two different purposes. So NumPy module is a numerical Python. So usually it has all the numerical methods, right? Be it methods related to descriptive statistics or inferential statistics, or you want to do any vector operations, or you want to do any matrix operations. Yes, NumPy is your go-to guide. And talking about pandas, pandas will give you a tabular abstraction, where you will get to do a lot of data operations. When I say data operations, you can do data cleaning, you can do data transformations, you can do some kind of exploratory analytics. Okay, so that's the difference. Like, there are two different purposes. One for using your mathematical, doing your mathematical operations, and second one is for data operations. Any other questions, guys? Cool. So once again, thank you for joining our demo, guys. And any course related details, please get in touch with our Career IT folks. They'll be able to help you out with all those details. Okay, so like when this batch will start, duration of this batch, or date, I mean batch start date, so on and so forth. All these queries can be answered by our Career IT folks. So please reach out to them. Okay, and hope to see you in our first session. Once again, thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.